What is up, everyone? Welcome back to No Cap Space. The playoff-a-thon continues. Round 2, game 1. A couple of interesting games, good games today in both of these series. Tyler and Greer here holding it down for you. Might have a couple people popping in as we continue on as well. But before we get into it, of course, our friends at Home Field, where you can use code NOCAP15 to get 15% off your first Home Field purchase. All the link in the description down below to the No Cap Space collection as well, and to all of our social medias, so you can make sure you stay tapped in with No Cap Space. And as always here, super chat, get your message on the stage because we're talking Lynx Mercury, we're talking Fever and Aces right after. Greer, this was a game of two halves. To describe this one, Phoenix looked good to start off with. They looked like a team that was able to play their game, that was playing clean, playing fast, and trying to. But the thing that I know I've said it on here, it's something that the biggest strength of Minnesota to me is that you have to play a full 40 minutes. And really, it was a solid, very solid first half, but the Lynx just took over really in that second half and were able to. I forget what the exact run is and what the margin was of the entire second half, but heavy in Minnesota's favor.
Or 22 points in the second half. That's
yes.
What you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's talk about Minnesota because what a day.
What
a day if you're part of the Minnesota Lynx. However, the best thing to win are the things that people cannot vote on. And all season long, Minnesota has had the number one offense and the number one defense. And both of those things were on display today for them. Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes Minnesota so special is that they can play and beat you a number of ways.
Yeah. Offense
can be stagnant and then explosive in the second half. Defense can be kind of mid and then absolutely shut you down in the second half. Mm-hmm. And when they get both rolling like they did in the second half of this game today, they look incredibly hard to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, they look like a team with no weaknesses. When both of them, it was number one offense, number one defense. So you get two number ones rolling, and I don't know what the answer is supposed to be for any. This second half for this Minnesota team is for this game was the best that anybody looked over the course of the entire day, and like a tier above what anyone else looked like at any point in the day today of these remaining teams. So You can certainly find ways to try and knock them off their game, but to your point, they can win in so many different ways. So the foundation that Minnesota is built on is so strong that they're gonna find there's gonna be some level of way where even if you get the upper hand, what they're falling back on is so solid and so strong. I mean, when you have Cheryl Reeve as your coach and just the system that is within this franchise, they're not going to just go down. The idea of Minnesota getting blown out, obviously it happened a couple times in the regular season, literally a couple, two maybe, notably the Aces one, right? But this team doesn't really get blown out. They're gonna hang around. You are going to have to absolutely get them to the very end of the game and win until the very end of the game. And Phoenix unable to do that in the second half. From your perspective, what shifted right for in Minnesota's favor there, that allowed them to take over in that way and look like the number one seed?
Kind of the Lonnie Smith for Kliandikova sub pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Kliandikova is a matchup nightmare for the Phoenix Mercury. They don't have they barely have anybody to match up with Fee and Alyssa Smith.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? They're just not a big team, and so you go to 6. What is she? 6'7"?
Something like that.
You go to that, and then again, she's a player who all season long, when she was able to get minutes for Minnesota, was incredibly impactful.
Yeah. She's listed at 6'4". I don't believe.
No.
There's no chance. No. That does not feel right.
When she was playing for the Sparks, it was definitely, Can you go check what she was?
Let me do a Google. That's WNBA.com saying that.
Yeah. But
let's see.
Having the gumption to ride that wave to close the game, right?
Yeah.
Because she had been so impactful, and Phoenix really didn't have an answer for that substitution right there. So again, no one's above everybody. It's just everybody's got to stay ready, right? Because this is also a team where coming into today, I was a little bit concerned that Dejanay Carrington was not going to be in the lineup.
Yep.
At all.
Yeah. That's what when Cost started popping off, I was like, what? I don't know what Minnesota's pivot here is with Ka specifically in that way.
So they countered with size.
Yeah.
They countered with size. Phoenix, again, this year we knew that, like, and even going back to last year with Coach Tibbetts, like, this is going to be a team that gets 3-pointers up. Minnesota matched that today early, right? Even though they weren't necessarily hitting them, but like just the shots on goal, like they were getting them up there. And then ultimately Phoenix just didn't hit very many.
Right. Yeah, no, that's what was kind of weird about the first half was like, when you think about like, okay, if Phoenix is going to win this series, right? It felt like to me, just generally speaking, that the 3-point shots were going to have to be falling. And like that felt like a kind of a given just to match. And they weren't falling, and they didn't fall this entire game. I mean, it was 3 for 23 over the course of the entire night for Phoenix. But like, it wasn't in the first half either, right? That didn't change from like first, second half, you know? And so to see them be able to do what they did in the first half, and again, I think I mentioned it on here, but like leaving that Liberty series, especially at that post-game interview, like this is a Phoenix team that looks confident. And they came, and it looked like that in the first half, and it gave that same vibe, right? And like even like the Alyssa Thomas like sideline interview where Holly Rowe asked like, "Hey, Fee's kind of putting on a show. What are you gonna do? Like, how are you gonna change how you're guarding her?" She's like, "She got to guard me too." And like, fair enough. Like that's the risk, you know. Like I am okay with that, right? That's the type of energy, and it feels like I don't know if it's being led by Alyssa Thomas, like if she's like kind of the one that is pushing this energy into the rest of the team. Certainly possible. I mean, obviously the engine of this entire machine that are the Mercury, but like to me, that was what worried me more than anything was that. Again, Minnesota, obviously there was a quick turnaround as well for Phoenix. So like the quick start and kind of fizzling out doesn't surprise me in that way, right? I mean, went into that game 3, had an overtime game as well that they ended up losing in that game 1 in the first series. Quick turnaround. So I'm not surprised to see them kind of fizzle out like that, especially when playing against Minnesota, who again, you have to play the full 40 against. But to me, the turnovers, they had only 2 turnovers in the first half, Phoenix. They end the game they had 8 in the second half, which in a game that was relatively free flowing, right? I mean, actually not even relatively. It was like there was no whistles,
maybe like 6 foul calls the entire game.
No, actually, like let's see, like Phoenix had 4 free throws and Minnesota had 6. Like one of the like that whole, I think it was the second quarter where like the first, like from like 5 minutes to 1 minute in the second quarter, there's just no whistles and they're just playing and going and going and going. Like this was a game, and I feel like to me that certainly favored Phoenix a whole ton because you were completely avoiding the half court defense in Minnesota, because that is to a point like that's where you can't have, like if you match up with Minnesota in the half court, like especially knowing where Alyssa Thomas struggles with, it's in the half court. You get Alyssa Thomas with a full head of steam, or like even just like being able to come off a screen, like whatever, you get her going downhill, you're gonna be feeling good. Like that is when she's at her best, whether it's going for the layup or kicking out after. But when you get in that half court defense, like in a solidified half court defense, because I don't think Phoenix had a ton of fast break points, but they were just playing fast, like in that way where they weren't really allowing them to get set up. Yeah, they actually had 5 less. They only had 10 fast break points over the course of the night. It wasn't about the fast break points. It was about not letting Minnesota get set up and comfortable in their defense. And yeah, it just didn't feel like they got into that same comfortability. And I think Minnesota got more comfortable as the game went on because they were just out of sorts a little bit.
I just think Minnesota can play styles. They can mix and match. Their lineups are like very right. When you have Kayla McBride and Bridget Carlton, like their versatility amongst the 3-2 to guard almost every other position.
Right.
Like those other pieces, those other 2 pieces are, but I also want to say like Courtney Williams, man. Like
that was the next point I was going to make.
Again, like there have been times where this season where you can like almost directly attribute some of their L's to Courtney. But then there are other times where you can directly attribute the dubs to Courtney too.
Yep.
And she was outstanding today. Took advantage of every matchup. Sammy Wickham, like that. If you're not hitting threes on the other end, you certainly cannot guard Courtney. Like you cannot guard Courtney on the other end of the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that I think that just speaks to Minnesota's like flexibility and versatility as a team, is that they can just beat you in a number of ways. But if you don't, also I just think if you don't even score 70, like you need to score like probably in the 85 point mark to even like come close to beating Minnesota to me.
I think that's a fair assessment because again, Minnesota
80, 85, like
they were missing bad, like they were missing gimmies.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about Minnesota's ability to buckle down when you're not playing well on offense.
Yeah, no, I feel you, Christopher. Thank you for your fire. We'll get that when we switch over to the Fever and Aces game. I'll pull that one up. We got one here for the Phoenix game. I think this game is a criticism of AT-led offenses. You can't build an offense that works in the playoffs around someone who takes one shot in the fourth. Look, I mean, this is where this has always been the thing, and I think this is why it's been such a. I think it's gone into the entire discourse about Alyssa Thomas, like with MVP and everything too. Like this has been the problem. This has been the worry, and like it's. I don't know what the exact stat is. But I saw someone on Twitter because I posted the clip of Alyssa Thomas saying she got to guard me too, and I think after that, I don't know the exact point, but I mean, you only take one shot in the fourth. I think she only had 2 points after that. And that's what has been so nerve-wracking, and that's kind of why, like, I was kind of thinking, I was like, okay, like the way Ka's playing this game, I'm like, they kind of have like that go-to scorer that like that you might not always have with this. This is one of those games where it looks like Phoenix might have it, ultimately didn't, right? Like it was enough to try and stop, and because I mean, really, once Minnesota got rolling, no go-to scorer was stopping whatever Minnesota had going there. But I don't disagree with you here that this is. I mean, we've talked about it plenty. Like this is the worry. This is, and especially against a coach like Cheryl Reeve and a defense like Minnesota. I promise you, if there's any team in the league, any coach, any roster that is going to try and take advantage of the where AT lacks offensively when you're leading, and she is the engine. If anyone's going to take advantage of it, it's the Lynx, 100%. But yeah, thank you there for the 5. Molly said, "Yo, Rocha Salmon Whitcomb the other night tonight just for her to get an MVP 5th place vote. She got oh no, 6th player. That was 6th player. Yeah, no, we did. Sammy's been good. Sammy,
yeah, I mean, she's 37. Like I'm gonna keep it a stack. Like, but in terms of like a respect Sammy Whitcomb, but like. Come on now.
I mean, it's Sammy Whitcomb. Like she can. Like there's nights where she certainly can. Like I mean, like she was solid tonight. go Sammy. Yeah, again, like not a it was Rakia that got the
right. Also, and then boom, like again, if anything that like has shown us anything in this cycle of voting is like what people who watch basketball night in and night out see and value is very different from what the voting population says with their votes.
And whoever that is an indictment on, we'll let you decide on.
Well, we don't know who it is because we don't have transparency in this.
Right. True.
Yeah.
We got $5 here from Jonathan. Cheryl and Fee were locked in on their opponent while Becky and Asia not so much. Well, we'll get to that. But I mean, look, they did. I think that, and it's kind of interesting, but the message of Minnesota this entire season, especially as like the MVP stuff kind of wound down, and I do think that ultimately it kind of started feeling like Asia was going to take MVP, but the messaging for Minnesota has pretty clearly been we're here for a title. Right. And like every team's going to say that, but like it felt like it's legit. Like I believe them when they say, like when Minnesota's coming from this organization, like I believe them when they say
all they've done is like follow that up with all the things that teams who are winning titles do.
100%. Like I fully believe them when they say it. And so like in terms of being like locked in, not that I don't think that like Becky or Asia were like not locked in, but obviously again we'll get to the performance of it, right? Because I mean that's a completely different topic. But from a Minnesota purely perspective, like this is what they do. Minnesota goes and wins championships. Like they go and compete. Like this is what they do, and especially what Cheryl Reeve does as a whole. $5 from Joe. Thank you, Jonathan, as well for the $5. Sammy has the most winning basketball experience of anyone on the Merc. Respect her. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's nothing else. Joe is gonna make sure that we respect Sammy Whitcomb, if nothing else. Joe, thank you for the 5. Yeah. Yeah. Any closing thoughts here on game one between Minnesota and Phoenix?
No, I mean, I'm trying to think of like what are the adjustments that Phoenix makes going into game two. I mean, it's certainly to hit more threes than they did today. No question. But also the finding ways to make DeWanna Bonner productive in this matchup, because she was not tonight.
Yeah.
And I think I mean their rotation it's shrunk to 8, right? It's Westbeld, Bonner, and Wickham coming off the bench.
Yep.
So you need more bench production, right? Because Minnesota can give you some, and some in timely moments too, right? Natisha got her bell rung, but there's been different points of the season where it's been Natisha, it's been Kliandakova, it's been Jess Shepard, right? So I could see a world in which all three of them, or at least two of the three, do very well in game two. So yeah, Phoenix, what can you do to get some offensive flow?
Yeah, it's again, it looked great in the first half when the game as a whole was just very free. And again, like literally they went like 5 minutes almost without a whistle. Like that just doesn't happen in basketball. And that's where it felt like, again, I mean, Tibbet said it on like his like little coaches interview. He's like, "Hey, I know you guys are tired and everything. Like obviously quick turnaround. How fast you want to play?" He was like, "Faster." Like it was something like that. Like the pace, like that is how they win the game. And I think that's the right move. Do I think it's a one that could be completely sustainable? I don't know. Like, because again, Minnesota, I mean, it's Minnesota, right? Like they're the number one seed for a reason. They're here for a reason. But I do think it's probably their best plan is to avoid allowing Minnesota to get set up, just generally speaking, as much as they can. But they're going to have to force more turnovers, I think, in order to do that. Because it was in that first half, Minnesota, you had some bad throwaways, you had some bad layup misses. Like things were bouncing Phoenix's way in the first half, if you will. And they were taking advantage of it then. But to not be able to hold on to that is not a great feeling. Not trying to put like the knockout blow early on in the first half feels bad. And that's where I worry with Phoenix.
I mean, Minnesota, I think on the broadcast they said has beat them 10 straight.
In Minnesota. Yeah. Yeah.
So Tuesday night again.
Yes, ma'am. For both of these.
Good luck, Mercury and the X Factor.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll switch over now to the Fever and the Aces. We got a couple of super chats in here already.
Give us more super chats because we need a trip to Cancun.
Yeah. Hey, come on now. Send no cash space to Cancun. Look, man, the playoff-a-thon, man, it feels like a marathon. But super chat, get your message on the stage. We got a couple here. First off, $5, Christopher, Aaliyah Boston, DPOY. Wow. She was looking like it today. We will absolutely be chatting on that. $5 for KGB. Bad matchup for the Aces. I've seen enough. Can we simulate the Fever Lynx Game 7? Seen this movie before. What happened in that movie? Well, I don't know what happened in that movie, but simulate. I won't look. If this is how it's gonna go, I don't know, man. We got $5 Joshua as well. Y'all want to keep down the Fever if this is the real Aces. Becky was talking about the Fever are winning this at 4. That's funny. The real Aces comment is funny. I want to talk about that though, because that's something that I haven't been able to shake it. We're starting to dive into the game, but I keep thinking at some point Indiana is going to hit the wall. And it is like it's very easy to make like the Pacers comparison from like the NBA side and like what we saw there. But like it is feeling very much like that in the sense of like at some point this isn't that's funny. At some point this isn't like this has to end. At some point. And it's even honestly to me crazier than the Pacers one, because the Pacers were just like a low-seeded team. Like they weren't supposed to, like they didn't have this expectation. The Fever don't have players. Like they have, what is it, 3 hardship contracts, right? Like on this roster right now. Like so I keep thinking in my head, logically, at some point, this has to end. And then every time
but not
Indiana
today.
steps on the floor, they defy logic. And it's been such an incredible story. And at this point, I'm done. So the question was, are you done down the Fever? I am. Because if Kelsey Mitchell is playing like this, like Kelsey Mitchell's too fast. Thank you for the $2, Jonathan. Too fast. Like a ridiculous performance today from Kelsey Mitchell. Again, I kind of talked about it last time we were on live with Indiana, like the story that she's gone through over just her career arc, and like to be able to now do this and be the winning player right now. Just absolutely incredible to see to be in this moment. Greer, we'll certainly dive into more specifics. And again, super chats, get your message on screen if you have any takes you want to get off, any questions for us, anything of that nature. Greer, Indiana goes into Vegas and Frank, pretty much from start to finish in this game, has control. It felt like it never felt like there was a couple Vegas runs where they were able to get back within like 4, 6, stuff like that. But ultimately, it never felt like Vegas had kind of regained the control on this game at any point. Just your general takeaways from a Fever, and then we'll dive into some specifics here.
I know you guys really wish Shawnee was here, but I have to say, I'm going to take the mantle as the number one Fever Laser.
Okay, somebody's got to do it.
But I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
Thoroughly impressed with the performance today.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Aaliyah Boston, like the numbers are they don't like jump off the page at you. Mm-hmm. But her command today was there.
Yeah.
And like that is for me a lot of what's been missing from like her season. Is just like, you were a number one pick, build is generational, has all the success, all the accolades coming into this. Like, you're just as capable of being a number one in this, especially if we establish that 4s and 5s are the best players in this league. Mm-hmm. You have all the tools, you have the makeup to do it. And today I felt like that was like, this was the Aaliyah Boston I had been waiting to see. Mm. Then you add the Kelsey Mitchell of it all, who, again, there's no one in this league who can guard her. The fastest first step. The amount of points that she was able to score in the paint today, especially in the first half, you got to be incredibly alarmed if you are the Las Vegas Aces. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, she's fast, but that always isn't. Sometimes, right, she's using that quick first step to pull back, to step back, to sidestep, right? Yeah. You go what I'm saying? She took it to the rim today and got fouled on a couple of those too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So her willingness to just like go at the best, right? Mm-hmm. Someone who we laud as the best rim protector in the game. Kelsey Mitchell went in there fearlessly today.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, You kind of mentioned, it's funny, Shawnee, you're going to need to put that broom away, $5. It's so funny because somehow Shawnee wins every time. One way or another, Shawnee wins. That's funny. Thank you for the 5. Yeah, to me, I on the scoring from Kelsey is, and I'm not saying this to downplay, but like that's what she does, right? She's a bug. Like you go and get, what was it, 34, right? 34. Like, you go and get that, like, bro. That's ridiculous. Like, and as you mentioned, doing it in all types of ways. The mid-range was hitting today, like across the board, like 100%, like, impressive. It was only 3 assists tonight, but that feels like a number way lower. like there's no way she only had 3 assists. Like, I feel like the control that she had on the game, when she had the ball in her hand, like, it felt like there really wasn't many missteps at all over the course of this entire game from Kelsey Mitchell. And that's always kind of been like kind of the worry, and it's like the archetype, right, of that type of, like, you're a pure bucket getter, but like when you try and play out of that just getting buckets, like the worry comes in, and the kind of chaos happens, right, stuff like that. I thought she was making every correct play today, and has been for a lot. I mean, that's been the playoffs. Like, that's, to me, what has been one of the big differences, and she's playing winning basketball. And that has always kind of been like the Kelsey Mitchell question, like, as this new era of Fever basketball came around with Caitlin and Aaliyah, like, is Kelsey Mitchell here and able to play winning basketball here? And the way that that's developed over these past couple of years, like, I could not be more impressed. And this game especially, like, was like possibly like this might be the best Kelsey Mitchell game I've ever seen. Like this, that's where I'm at with it. Like, in terms, and it's, I'm telling you, it's more of it. Like, yes, obviously 34 points. It's so much more. Like, I'm not even really thinking about that when I say that. The amount of control she had over this game, the decision making between when to shoot from where, 3 levels. Like, I could not have been more impressed over the course of this 40 minutes from what Kelsey Mitchell was able to do. Like I was incredibly moved. This is Melissa Smith's food. Thanks for the 2, Christopher. I mean, that first little bit, especially, it was 1A, just going at her. I'm gonna talk about a little bit defensively as well. Just generally, obviously, A'ja Wilson, 6 of 22. A lot of those, frankly, makeable from A'ja. Like it was just kind of like it was like, man, it's not her night. But Aaliyah Boston was right there. And this has been a fun matchup since Aaliyah Boston has entered the league. This is not a new thing. And so, like, as Aaliyah Boston has gotten better and progressed and like has kind of really fully like got into like I feel like pro level shape, has fully acclimated to being a WNBA player, this matchup has just only continued to get better. And tonight, that's funny. And tonight, it was, to me, her best performance probably against A'ja. From that perspective, Aces didn't seem to have game plan.
Hold on. I think this is a very interesting point because, like, we read tea leaves here occasionally, right? Like we watch a lot of basketball. So if you remember correctly, when the Aces beat the Storm, A'ja goes in the on-court interview and is fully expecting to be playing the Atlanta Dream.
Yeah, it was like, I didn't know they won, but it felt like it was shock. Like it was like it. To your point, it felt like had she found out, oh, you're playing Atlanta, I think we would have had a different reaction there.
1000%. Yeah. So when you say the Aces didn't seem to have game planned at all, like of course they did some. You know what I mean? Of course, like Becky and her coaching staff did some, but it goes to show like maybe the Aces just don't have the horses to keep up with the Fever. But again, this is a Fever who have like 5 players on their team who were not there to start the season, or even midway through the season. Right? They dropped like flies very quickly at the end there. Like you have to know the pace with which Indiana wants to play, the tempo with which they want to play, right? That, and particularly that Kelsey Mitchell plays with. So it did feel a little like they were caught off guard today with just the pace that Indiana will come with.
100%. Yeah. Thank you for the 2 there. And then we got the $5 here from me as well. Fever fueled by the power of friendship. We got a lot of heart, a lot of cookies, and black Air Force Ones. Let's fucking go.
Hey man, we big in Norway.
Shout out Norway. I was over here doing the conversion. I was like, let me see how much I'm thanking for.
The Krona
International. Thank you, man, for the 5. Yeah, that's again, like, to your point, the pace was insane. And like this was for the first time in a while that the Aces, to me, have looked like I don't want to say have looked human, but like in the sense of like when we look back at like the first half of the season and like some of like the things that were problematic, right? Chelsea Gray didn't feel like she was like fully all the way back like to where she was at. Jewel Lloyd was obviously having struggles then in the starting lineup, right? It felt like those kind of things kind of popped up again today, where it's like what do you do defensively if Kelsey Mitchell does this? Like you try to throw Jackie Young on her, like that's your best bet, right? But even then, like Jackie Young's a good defender, don't get me wrong, but like the speed of Kelsey Mitchell again, like they don't have anyone to match the pace at all, and they were trying to throw like Kirsten Bell or whoever, like there was no answer at all. There's not a pivot there, so like that's where it becomes a thing where it's like the shooting was good, like from Kelsey today, but like a lot of that inherently is just the player that Kelsey is that caused problems. It wasn't that she was hitting like tough shots like necessarily. It's the pace. That's just Kelsey Mitchell. That's like she's not going anywhere with that. Like, oh Lord, oh no. Look, the person you want to hear from is here, fella. Family. We know why you're here.
I was summoned. I was summoned.
The people have missed you dearly. Get centered.
Get like. There you go.
Oh, like in the camera. Okay.
No, she was about to.
Okay. Yeah.
Shawnee, they were in the super chats telling you to put the broom away.
I never took the broom out. I just said they were gonna get swept. I wasn't like, oh, I this is what I want, and this is yeah, okay. I was just early. Maybe the Aces get swept. Maybe that's what I meant. Never wrong. Just misunderstood. Just
right word.
Oh, the Aces winning the championship. We might still do that too.
11:09 Central Time, September 14th. Aces are winning the final.
7 days is wicked.
Yeah. So if
this might not come up my board. Like I might not be able to erase this after this is done.
You're gonna see some sort of miracle where the Aces are gonna it's the Indiana fever. So if that officer files a police report and now the Aces can't participate in the finals, boom, the Aces get swept. They still go to the finals. We still win a championship. I'm still right.
Sure. Okay. Well, Shawnee, as the residential agenda pusher for really both these teams here in No Cap Space.
Yeah, now let me get centered.
Yeah, let's break this down from both sides here. We've kind of gone through both sides on our own. I would love to hear your perspective on both of these teams. We'll start with the winner here. I thought Kelsey Mitchell, obviously, we've been here talking about it. Kelsey Mitchell, electric today, fantastic. Aaliyah Boston, we were mentioning here that matchup with Asia has always been a fun one ever since AB has gotten to the league, and she was looking like the G word today. She was looking a little bit generational with some of that stuff that she was doing today. Shawnee, we'll start with the Fever, and again we'll get to the Aces as well and where we go from here. But from a Fever perspective, the victors go the spoils. The victors go your glaze. And there you go.
Man, wow. Like Kelsey Mitchell is showing no signs of slowing. Boy, I can't even talk, bro. Like that's how flabbered my flabbers are gassed. My flabbers are completely gassed because again, I keep expecting this team to run out of gas, especially the way the Aces have been playing the last 18, 19 games, where I just didn't think they could contend with that, especially since it's playoff time, so that level goes up. Apparently, they said, "Hey, hold my Cheez-Its. We got a level 2." So they really kicked it up a notch. Playoff Kelsey Mitchell is real. Like I think we do. That's really the conversation we need to have. Playoff Kelsey Mitchell is real. That MVP conversation that wasn't a fluke. That wasn't like, oh, Charity, they're doing good and stuff. Like, nah, she her, bros. She's her. Yeah. She's become the guard the vet that they need, the guard they need, the scorer, and somehow they figured out how to do it without sacrificing Aaliyah tonight. I mean, the scoring, but it's like if she's going to score 30 and Aaliyah's going to pass her the ball and get on Asia's nerves, which clip, bro.
That's what's so crazy is like me and Greer were here. We're like, we're not even.
I want you to know that I was holding you down.
Greer was like, since Shawnee's not here, I'm taking the baton. And like again, like it's not always about the numerical here. Like AB's like the impact today was genuine. Like when it just across the board. Like in that it doesn't take just the scoring here. Before Shawnee, I'm about to pass over to you, but Gamer's gonna be on tilt for game 2 or game 3 and 4, $2 from Christopher. Absolutely. Man. That atmosphere now, especially now. Like, oh my god, don't let them win game 2 as well. Because that game will be
that's when Aerial Powers comes alive.
Bro, Aerial Powers gonna be on the scores table like Pat Bev, man. Like it's gonna be crazy. $5 from a bill. Aaliyah Boston, big guard. Will the inevitable AB triple-double come against the Aces in the playoffs, Shawnee?
In the chat today, in our chat, I literally put AB playoff triple-double watch.
Shawnee.
If it comes, man, because listen, my girl got some MVP votes. My dog got some
like
MVP
one
votes.
But
hey.
Actually, she had
more than Rakia?
She had barely.
Hey, chill out.
She had actually. Hold on. I'll 1 4th place vote and 2 5th place votes for Aaliyah Boston.
Hello. Chris, more than Paige. So.
Oh, that's so nasty. That's so wicked.
my girl getting MVP votes, and she's showing what it is. So I think that triple-double is very within the realm of possibility because, one, she's capable, and two, they need it. You know, like they're going to need her to rebound well against Asia and Alyssa. But
yeah,
they're gonna need her to pass Kelsey the ball. They're gonna need her to get a couple buckets. And if you got Meg Gustafson on her, you got to score every time.
Yeah, there's truly no, and to that point, Shawnee, maybe we can flip it over to the Aces. What we can certainly come back to the Fever. But the thing that really stood out to me, maybe more than anything, is that there's absolutely no chance of the Aces surviving a bad Asia game. And we've been here before. Like this is not news, right? But like a game like this, I mean, obviously you have the potential like a Jackie scoring pop off. Obviously Jewel is capable of that technically, but like realistically speaking here, like you can't really survive this because there is no pivots, right? If Aaliyah Boston is attacking the boards and Asia Wilson's not doing anything about it, there is no pivot. If Kelsey Mitchell continues to get to the rim like the way that she was today and set up everything else, and Asia Wilson isn't stopping it, there's nothing that can be pivoted off of that. So that to me is like one of the biggest takeaways from the Aces. And well, before we pivot over there, we can touch on this. We were talking in the chat and with the $2.
Hey,
Bree Turner, this was prime. Bree Turner was catching lobs. She was playing defense. She was fantastic today.
Hey, bro, if she ain't got a spot on this roster next season, we could drop Kia Stokes and bring her right over to Vegas because she's shown me something. And to be clear, I don't regret anything I said at the time I said it. And I'm being serious now because it's like I had seen her best role to me was always as like BG's front court mate. And so BG's gravity and attention in the front court allowed her to eat and allowed her to, you know, get career numbers. And then we saw kind of like what happens when you take that away and kind of leave her to her own devices. But like she stepped up. You cannot deny that. You cannot downplay it. She stepped up and been exactly what they needed in that role. She's given, like, you can't rely on Kia Stokes. And at this point, I trust her to bang with Alyssa. So Bree Turner for president. I'm on board.
We go.
I'm on board.
Again, thank you, Anna, for the $2 there. Again, super chats, get your messages on screen. We'll pivot over off that to Vegas a little bit. Again, as I mentioned, obviously not a good Asia Wilson game on MVP day. Just a lot of that again. AB I thought played great defense. I thought Asia was missing shots that also she just normally makes, right? Just a couple of gimmies that didn't go in, but ultimately I leave impressed with the defense more than anything and how they were able to irritate. And even Aaliyah was like, I'm just trying to annoy her a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, like that's kind of what you got to like for Asia. Like you're not, that's the best player in the world. You know, it's like you can only do so much to physically stop her. But I think the job was absolutely accomplished today. Again, any day you go 6-22 with Asia Wilson and you hold her to below 20 points, only 16, any day of the week, give me that stat line if you're going against the Aces. Shawnee, what was your kind of takeaway from an Ace perspective here?
Aaliyah Boston's generational. And when I said she was generational, her going against Asia is a large part of why I was so comfortable repeating that consistently, because this isn't like, Bree Turner's hooping, yes, but it's like we haven't been able to see that consistently for the last year. We saw Aaliyah become a problem for Asia day one in the league.
Yes, we mentioned that.
Like her physicality bothers Asia, and now her versatility is causing a problem because I saw that pump fake out on the perimeter. Woo! That's been a little bit of my concern with Asia, like out on the perimeter. So if AB is pulling her away from the basket, and even if you get like one or two cheap fouls out there, that can swing the momentum of the ball game completely because then you can't be as aggressive, elsewhere. Even though, I saw the clips, Lexi Hull, I don't know what you got to do, big dog. File a report. I don't know what you got to do, big dog. But you just not. I'm sorry, you're not getting that call. It just doesn't seem to be happening. But it's like if they do start calling that too, and you can pick up a cheap one around the perimeter, it's you can swing the momentum. But it's
those four fouls when she had were very instrumental in the win tonight.
Yeah.
Like the timing of the fouls played a big play in the result today. Definitely.
So if Aaliyah is now not only capable of holding her own defensively and causing problems for Asia, offensively, and then offensively causing problems for Asia defensively, and then just as a general human causing problems mentally by getting on somebody's nerves, like Malonga, take notes, dog. This is your future. This has to be your future, big dog.
Yeah. Yeah, there really is like lore to this matchup at this point with Aaliyah and Asia. Like we mentioned it before you hopped on here. Like since AB has gotten to the league, like this has been a thing. Like this is like I remember those very first matchups, rookie year AB. Like this has been a thing that has happened. And like to see, I'm not surprised that now that Aaliyah has kind of matured into the player that she is becoming. Like this is no surprise that we've reached this point when it comes to Aaliyah being able to disrupt. And again, that's without like she was this impactful, and like we are talking about her like this, and she had 6 points. So like it's so much more. The fact that we've reached a point where Aaliyah can truly impact the game in this way with her passing, with just general playmaking, kind of keeping things rolling and flowing, the defense, the rebounding. The fact that we've reached this level is a testament to where Aaliyah Boston all around in her game has grown. She only had 6 points, and the fact Indiana goes and does this with that,
and it wasn't like 6 points. Like, sister, be aggressive. Why aren't you?
Yeah, it didn't have that feel.
It's like, nah, we didn't. This is all we needed for you. Like, you go do your thing, and we'll take care of it. So,
yeah.
Hey, you saw them screens. Kwame Brown say you didn't see them screens.
Yeah, no, again, obviously, this is,
I'll say like Natasha Howard was doing a light amount of cooking too, and I feel like
not even light. 12 points. Hold on, 12 points, 4 or 5, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. That's more than enough. That's more of enough. Yeah.
I mean, I'm expecting her like if right, like the series is ultimately probably going to be decided between Aaliyah.
Aaliyah battle. Aaliyah.
No more Stewie. It's no more Stewie. No more Stewie. No more Stewie.
Aaliyah. But that is ultimately like probably what's going to end up deciding this series, because I expect, like Jonathan is saying in the chat, I expect Howard to have the one up on Alyssa Smith. Howard is one of the most experienced players in this league, and I don't even know, she's barely played on teams that have missed the playoffs. She's in her 12-year career, she's probably been in the playoffs like 9 or 10 of those years.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. And she has the Dallas Wings graduation.
I was about to say the only time she might have missed was in Dallas.
And maybe early with the fever, maybe. I can't recall exactly. But yeah.
So we have another Dallas Wings and Odyssey Sims. Odyssey's concerned.
She was like a Dallas Wings transfer, grad transfer.
Yeah.
She did masters at Dallas Wings University.
Well, she didn't have a dorm room. She was off campus.
Right.
No meal plan. She wasn't in the trenches.
No meal plan. Yeah, no, so I guess I'll ask it in kind of this way as we try to kind of look ahead just a little bit here. Obviously, we'll see both of these matchups again on Tuesday night. For Indiana, to me, I think Asia plays better going forward. Like I think that they found a way to make it difficult for her, but I just expect her to be better than this, frankly. Outside of that, a lot of what we saw tonight feels like something that the Fever can replicate because the pace was such a problem. Not going to get any slower, by the time they play on Tuesday, right? Like a lot of these things can be replicated in my eyes in what brought Indiana success. Maybe you're not getting a whole 34 from Kelsey Mitchell again, but you might be getting more than 6 from Aaliyah Boston. Like there's like the concessions you might have to make in terms of like the really great performers today. It feels repeatable to me. In what caused the Aces such problems. For you guys, do you feel a similar way? Like, do you feel like this is something that was how does this? I guess I'll word it like this, just generally speaking. How does this not become a one-off for Indiana here? How do they continue to play like this in the face of Vegas?
Greer, you can go first.
Pace. I think pace was the single biggest problem, kind of for.
I agree.
Vegas just looked a step slow. By the time the guards were ready to match up with Kelsey, she was at the rim.
Yeah.
And so Odyssey Sims as well. right? I think she shot over 50% today.
7 of 13 for 17. Yeah, we didn't mention her. Yeah, she was also very, very good today. Yeah.
So the Indiana guard rotation just kept things honest and didn't allow like the other guards to dig in and help Asia poke things. You know what I mean? Like they kept them. You had to guard them today, and I think Indiana can continue to do that because they may have shot 50%, but what did they shoot from three? Like I don't remember feeling overwhelmed.
They're only 31, 5 of 16. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So like that's another factor to their game that they haven't even gotten to.
Yeah, 50% from the field, but 31% from three. Like that's again, this was not to me like if I was like to just kind of storyboard a Fever win, like the pace would certainly be in play, but the threes would come into play more heavily than it did in this game. If I was to have like, okay, you're going to tell me that they're winning 89-73. I'm assuming that they're shooting way higher than 31% from three. Like if you told me this before the game. So yeah, that's a great thing, honestly, for Indiana to be able to go and win like this without having to rely heavily on the three ball. Shawnee, where are you kind of at in terms of like Indiana being able to replicate this going forward?
Clipboards. Because one thing, Stephanie White, I'm just still on the fence about her just as a coach. Because it's 1 minute, it's like, what are y'all doing? And the next, I'm like, wait, she might be her. She could be her. She's probably her. So it's like the clipboard is where I need to see it because I know like last playoffs, she just added that little bitty wrinkle of putting DeWanna Bonner on Caitlin.
Yeah.
And that threw everything off. And, because like the previous matchups in the regular season, it had been Dejanay on her. So she's able of making like little corrections to really like throw teams off. It's just, is this going to work on the aces like it did Christy Sides? Yeah. Like, can we maybe like start Bree Turner and then have like AB, Bree bothering Asia so that Aaliyah can, do more scoring and take advantage of Melissa in a way, like try and get some switches there or something like that. Like, what is she going to be able to have a little wrinkle to disrupt and, throw something new at them? And will Becky be able to counter? Because with Becky, the roster is the roster. So it's like, okay, fine. You want to throw Bree Turner at us? We'll put Kia Stokes back in. You know what I'm saying? Or it's like, we'll rely more on Meg Gustafson for her for her pace and, so it's like the roster is still the roster. And so how is she going to be able to use that to counter whatever Stephanie comes up with? So it's a chess match of coaches, and I need to see everybody vote their, earn their singular coach of the year vote. This is where it's proven right here. Earn your one vote. Show that one voter that they made the right decision. Both of you. Let's go.
Yeah. No, I think it'd be interesting because one thing that is interesting is that they were able to build cushion today. And because Vegas did make a couple pushes, right? Like obviously weren't able to fully kind of regain control. Like I mentioned at the top, but this is again like they had cushion, so they were able to survive all those. What does this Fever team look like if they don't have cushion against this Vegas team? Is what I'm going to be interested in seeing going forward. Because to your point, Shawnee, one clipboard that we know is certified in the clutch is Becky's, and like generally speaking, over the course of her tenure in Vegas, it's been a whole lot of good clutch time aces moments, right? And so if it gets down in the last 2 minutes of a game and this game is tight, like what does that look like for Indiana? Just because again, you have just so many like weird pieces. This is not the team that you were expecting to be in the playoffs with when you started this year. So I'm just interested in kind of how that potentially goes in a more tighter game over time.
Why should it be Kia Stokes? Watch Kia Stokes come and go for finals MVP, bro. Like just because I said something.
$5 here from Habil. I think we can all agree this playoff format doesn't favor the higher seed enough. That's what I'm hearing from an unnamed blonde coach. You get your, I don't know, like the first round, I can kind of get because like the travel aspect of it, like the 1-1-1. From there on, hoop, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Like to me, it kind of just becomes like it's time to hoop, and I don't really subscribe to that. It like being, I don't know, maybe the higher seed enough. Like I don't know what that would entail here.
Well, I heard on the broadcast them invoke the spirit of what year did Chicago win? 2021.
Yes.
as a 6 seed. So script writers are paying attention. They're locked in.
Yeah.
Ooh. That would be very interesting. I don't know if the world. Yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, never mind. I ain't saying it. But yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm stuck on Kia Stokes. Like coming back.
Okay. We'll keep it pushing from you there, Shawty.
Sorry.
Joe mentioned in the chat like the idea of going like the 5 games. You got to expand rosters or do something else before. Like you can't keep adding games before, and hopefully in the new CBA like that, comes around like one way or another. So I'm not completely opposed to that, but yeah. Before we move on to maybe just some quick hits on some. Obviously, we had a lot of kind of W news over the course of the day. Quick hits on that. Like, any closing thoughts here from either of you on this game?
Lights on at the unction. Oh, sorry. This game, yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna keep winning. So shout out to me. Congratulations to everyone in my agenda house. We're eating good.
All right. Well, on that note, $2 from KGB because today the announcement was made official that Noelle Quinn was being removed as the Seattle Storm head coach.
Not renewed.
Contract not renewed is how we'll word it. Okay. Yeah, they say get you and all your friends out of here.
Because they cleaned house.
Whole staff gone. Whole staff gone.
They airing out the locker room. They spraying it down.
Yeah.
Getting the carpets ready.
Yeah. KGB, thank you for the 2. The question is who are some names? Like we'll just kind of throw them out. I know for me, Chrissy Tolliver, associate head coach currently with the Mercury right now, currently still in the playoffs. I don't know if that's a name that the Storm want to go to in the sense of like, I think it kind of depends on what the Storm want to do. Do Skylar and Nneka want to stay? Like, are they, is it still title mode for Seattle? Are they ready just to kind of pivot, into the Dominique Malonga era, and you have like your lottery pick here. Obviously, you don't know like what pick that'll be. So I could see like if you want to maybe go and try and get like a former like a Chrissy Tolliver like that or a Brianna January, as KGB says in the comments, like that's another great kind of former player name. If you're to me that leans more towards a little bit more towards the rebuild. To me, like you for like, allow these coaches to get their lumps, these players to get their lumps. There's not a ton of like standout names to me if you're still in win now mode. That's kind of where I think I worry with Seattle and trying to figure out where to go. There's not like we were kind of talking about in the chat when this went down, like college coaches kind of depleted in terms of like realistic candidates that you would kind of, could potentially make that jump. It feels like it's going to be either an assistant coach right now on a staff or coming from the NBA side. I'm sure Chrissy's sides, guys.
Y'all going to hell for saying that. Stop saying that. Don't nobody want no Christy sides. Didn't I just say we lost the playoff series because Christy sides clipboard was not working?
Guys, our resident Storm fan Joe says we need a full reset. Thank you for the $2, Joe. I don't disagree.
Yeah, and you got to look at what's working, right? Like Natalie Nakase, like assistant off of a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
We multi-time championship team,
right? Yeah. And it's like it's a risk because all right, first time coach, but it's like she proved to be the brains of this operation, as we learned the first like 15 games. So you swing for the fences with a championship assistant coach. You look at what's going on in Connecticut. Right. Yes, they are in a rebuild, but like they're in a rebuild more so because they don't have the experienced pieces to put together a playoff run. But like we've talked about that a lot, how hard they play, how locked in they are, how they compete as like a 9-win team. If you can channel that, because that was Seattle's problem. They did not have the energy that Connecticut have. And yes, it's age, but like get some Jarrett's Hall and like let's rock out, bro. Like you still got to have some pride. So, they went overseas, got a popular overseas coach. I don't want a retread. I don't want to see a tie ball. I'm sorry. I don't want to see Fred Williams again. I don't want to see Derek Fisher for darn sure. I don't want to see nobody. Coach Riblets from the NBA, that worked out, but it's still kind of like I'm iffy on going and pulling an NBA coach. College coach, the Smesco system.
Lynn Roberts as well.
Yeah. So now you got like
that's where like that option never felt like an actual option before this season. Like realistic, like that isn't really a thing that happened until this year of college coaches coming up in those ranks. So it's kind of hard to like those names kind of came out of nowhere. But like now that we have that,
now that you're saying that, I don't think she would. But like the college coach who puts me in the mind of them a lot, like less of a resume just yet, but like Carly Tebow. Right,
like
a very distinct play style, like in term, and then quick success with
Fairfield. Also notably at a smaller school, which is kind of like what we saw with these other ones.
But with Smesco, it's like Florida Gulf Coast was in the tournament threatening to upset people like every year. So it's like, yeah, we did have those questions of like, can that translate to the big leagues? But it's like he had Kirsten Bell leading him. And Kirsten is a pro talent, like, just to be clear, like, we've seen that. But, like, that was the only person he's had. So I think if you're going to swing for a college coach, it's got to be a Don. It's got to be a Gino. It's got to be a Moki. And since none of them seem to want to leave, like, the risk to me sounds like it wouldn't. Like, again, for Seattle, you have those two timelines. You don't want to waste another second of Malonga. Like, we have the GOAT origin is happening now, and we must move quickly. So you don't want to waste an ounce of what she's got. You can't afford to waste like what Skylar and Nneka have, because again, they're on the other side of 30. So you need somebody that can balance those two timelines, that has the X's and O's, that has the respect.
It's not even a two-timeline thing anymore, if we're being completely honest.
True.
It's no longer two. It's a Dom Malonga thing. Yeah. It's a Dom Malonga all-star.
Well, no, but like now they still have a pick.
You have a lottery pick this year, yes.
Yeah, so it's like
they have LA's pick.
Yeah, so you still need to do like some level of developing in a sense. So that's what I mean. Like so it's a 1.5 timeline. It's not a complete 2.
I could kind of see it in the manner of like if you value Nneka and Skylar being there as your vets. Like that's
accelerated learning. This is what and
like I as someone who has been very critical of a lot of the rebuilds in the W, I kind of don't hate that. Like I don't like being in the middle, generally speaking. But like I hate that. That is not where you want to be. But now that you have this lottery pick, and it certainly depends on who you go and get in this draft, and like where your lottery pick ends, like that this can change. But the idea of being in the middle with Dominique Malonga and like I don't know, AZ Fudd, I can live with that, right? And you like the accelerated learning, and you maybe play another year with Skylar and Nneka, see what you make shake, and then you move on from there. And like I don't hate that. Again, as someone who does not like being in the middle, if you're in the middle with that, I can get behind because your pieces are in place, right? You're not having to tank for these pieces. You're already here. Like a lot of these teams that needed to continue to go and gather this talent. And this is kind of an interesting one here too from KGB. Thank you for the 2. 3 teams need coaches. Obviously, Seattle is the first that from a current team, but you got 2 expansion teams coming in here as well. Those are certainly teams that are going to be more in the rebuild, obviously, and like are going to be looking at that, and maybe more of a Natalie kind of like assistant coach first year. Seattle, again, it truly just depends on what their idea is. And I don't think that there's really a wrong answer for them. Like if you go and re-sign Nneka and Skylar, like I get it. And again, I'm not mad at the accelerated learning track potentially. I also don't mind leading into the rebuild by any means. If you
I
want
just
to
think
try
that
and do
the Storm have to nail it, right? We don't know anything about Toronto or Portland. In Seattle, we know that you got the big baguette.
Yeah.
And it's the nickname. Y'all are sick. Y'all are sick. The big baguette.
The big baguette.
Okay, Shaq.
We know, like.
Say it again, Chuck.
Say Chuck.
What do you say, Chuck? It's the big baguette.
Yeah, like you have that piece, and that it's beyond even foundational, right?
Yeah.
Like we're looking at And this is the franchise that's used to having stars, but thinking back to like Lauren Jack, like, I don't know. She's doing something different to me than LJ did. I don't know. So you got to get it right. You got to nail it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And again, I mean, the one name I always throw in here, the big drip, Latricia Trammell. If you want to go win some playoff, if you want a team to play hard, I think that she would mix with this team. Like if you're rolling with this identity, that would work for me. If you want to try and go, and that's also a coach that I think could kind of stick around with like afterwards. Like if you go like 1 year and try and still win, and then stick around later, like that. But that's my dog, So, $2 here as well for Anna. Lisa Leslie was obviously she had kind of had her story come out where she wanted to coach, got denied.
Portland,
put her in the pool of applicants.
Yeah. I'm not mad at an interview by any means. I mean,
no, but I'm saying like the Seattle job is kind of like not in the same vein as the New York Knicks, but it's like there's some stuff that you're not gonna have a lot of time to get your feet under you. Yeah. And I don't think that would be fair to her to expect, that we're kind of not perfection, but we are expecting a high level from the Seattle Storm. And I don't think that's fair to put that on her year one as she's trying to get acclimated into that. So yeah, like Toronto or Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let my legend go to one of those.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of the same vein as I was kind of saying with like a Christy Tolliver, like a first time head coach. I would like to see, especially a former player like that. I like the idea of the expansion franchise where it's like it's not the immediate expectation or everything. You could take your lumps as well as a coach and learn and being in that seat. Like obviously, a very experienced basketball minds, right? But I like that idea of being able to kind of have that time. I did want to kind of wrap up here. Some other news that came out today. Me and Andrew already touched on it. A'ja Wilson, MVP winner. Obviously, we already talked about her performance.
Wait, really?
Not the performance that you want to follow up with, obviously, but ultimately wins MVP and pretty handedly wins MVP. Again, I already gave my thoughts and alongside Andrew here on the YouTube channel. That's why you have to subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified every time we drop a video, whenever we go live, all that. Just for you guys, both A'ja winning. Again, I don't think that I didn't feel like a surprise by like kind of like the momentum towards the end. I was surprised personally by the difference in first place votes. I thought it would be a little bit closer. But for you guys, what did y'all feel like? Was this the way that this was going in terms of kind of essentially kind of a blowout, honestly, from in first place votes?
It seemed that way all week. I just think the voters got it wrong, but I just think the Lynx are an all-time team. When Fee came back after missing 3 weeks and still dropped 32-9, like that didn't matter ultimately. I just think like points, I get it, but like where I'm at with that, like 50, 40, 90, and the only player seemed to do it scoring 20 or more points per game. Too. Like EDD shit was like that was marvelous at the time, but like take it up a notch and you're in a class of one. I just think not only did the voters get it wrong, but yes, she also should have gotten more votes. But hopefully, again, we'll see, because the Indiana Fever look like they very much want to
you praying on downfalls.
No, but I mean, I want the crash collision in the finals. That's like what we should all be hoping for.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I disagree, but I think it was like signature moments, right? Because you had the opportunity. You were out 3 weeks, right? So then A'ja's signature moment is that 16-game win streak. And you can say it's unfair, that we're counting like 1/3 of the season, but it's like it was an impactful third. It was like a legacy game third. You know what I'm saying? Like with MVP campaigns, there's a moment sometimes, like again, as a Russell Westbrook fan, there's some games like he had that stretch where he was scoring 50-point triple doubles. You know what I'm saying? And then that final game against Denver where he eliminates them on that 3-game winner, bro, that was perfection. Man, so A'ja had 16 of those lined up on top of the fact that she wasn't playing poorly at the beginning of the season. It's just we weren't winning. And so she kind of was like under the radar, and you don't have those signature moments at the beginning of the season. So Fee should have came and reminded them who I am. So that 32 should have came against Asia. It came against the Fever, which I thought was foul. You came back against the Indiana Fever to get your rocks off, sister. You fouled for that. But no, like the 32 was good. If she had sustained that, and so when they met up again, and it became like your teammates are saying, yeah, this is for MVP.
Nobody has been more critical than me of like Minnesota as an organization and how they handled her MVP case. And I think that extends to her teammates as well. Like everybody should have known what was going on September 4th, and it played appropriately and accordingly. You have to know that like in this league, things like that can happen, even though Cheryl included, right? Because she's the one that pulled them off the floor with 3 or 4 minutes to go.
Yes. But then still, like, Minnesota did not have anything to pull from when they're trying to, like, make this late push for MVP. They're, like, the 50, 40, 90 did not come until, like, the second to last game. So that would have been a great crown jewel to revolve your whole campaign around if it had come earlier in the season, or, like, she's on pace to do this. Watch her stay consistent, stay steady. So, like, now you have a reason to pay attention, or, like, Angel's double-doubles, right? Or, you know,
I'm saying Minnesota's at fault because they did you're talking about framing, right? So narrative. She's within 1 percentage point of doing it is different than saying watch her go get it.
Yes. And if we recognize early, like, yo, she's in place to get this done and is playing like, then now people are tracking that. Like Angel's in place to break the double-double record. Now we're tracking that, even if it is like a blowout game against the lowest win total team in the league. We want to still see if she gets it. Now we want to see, and you got to pay attention to this. They didn't do anything to help her out in that regard and make us pay attention. Asia's making them pay attention with that streak. They have the final head-to-head, and you can say that it's unfair that the other 3 didn't count, but that should have been in the thing. Yeah, last time we met up, we blew your doors off by 58 points. Watch us do it again, and then you have to deliver. That's the key thing. Minnesota wins that game. Fee puts that 32 on her in a win. We're having a completely different conversation because 1, that breaks the streak, and 2, that's like, okay, y'all got hype over this, but don't forget about, you know, who was really doing this, and then that makes people think a little differently on what's happening. So I think too many things went wrong at the end, and it just that matters. So it started off strong, but again, sometimes it's not always how you start off, it's how you finish.
You ain't wrong. My vote would have went to Asia if I had one, but this was like I thought it would just be closer just based on my own personal turmoil of like how I was trying to decide my vote. Like I was back and forth. Like when we did like our internal thing on nocastspacewb.com where you can see all our votes. But when I was like going through that, I went back and forth several times because I mean they're both legit cases, and like
Minnesota gave up at the end, so I was like, why would I?
No, I mean you're not wrong. Like
y'all not
the push for it, like any of like the social media market, like I wasn't moved by anything that they like put out. And I know I'm not the only one. I saw people on the timeline talking about that as well. I know I'm not.
They push for stud buds more.
Well, streamers of the year, baby. Streamers of the year in the W. Congratulations, stud buds.
Yeah, he was player of the month 3 times. Like that typically does not happen.
Yeah.
Player of the month, like that, they should have reminded us about that. That should have been in our. They could have been in our face about a lot more stuff.
Another email. Yeah, I agree.
No, I know it's again. I thought, I just wasn't moved. And again, like, and as someone who was very tight in this race and like not knowing who to pick, like I wasn't moved by anything. Minnesota did try to push me over the line. As we wrap up here, this is a funny one from our Seattle conversation. $5 from Ron here. Shawnee, you dismissed Seattle taking sides. What if they copy Indiana and hire from the team that beat them? Becky could move like Leo DiCaprio. Becky to Seattle would be. Seattle already has enough going on.
Wait a minute. No, take the other coach in the Blazer hoodie. We got one more. Go ahead and get her.
No, that would be ridiculous. That would be insane. Oh, horrible for America, but great for content. That would be. So I don't know. Like you said, for Seattle, we'll see. For Asia, it's the MVP, the first to become 4-time MVP. I mean, the standard being set, like you certainly can have like, I think you can have arguments about like the peaks of like players like at their best, like whether it be like a Stewie at her best, or even if you go back and the DTs, whoever it is, Candace Parker, in terms of like at their best, what type of player they are. But in terms of resumes being stacked up, especially only at 29 years old, the standard that A'ja Wilson is beginning to set, and will not be beginning to set, that has been setting over these past, especially 5 years, where she's won 4 out of 5 MVPs. Like the GOAT case and what people are going to be chasing from now on is getting ridiculous. Frankly, it's getting very, very, very strong. And again, we might have another ring on the way this year for A'ja. We might, who knows, by the time that she's hanging it up, what that might look like in terms of her resume. So incredibly impressive. Closing thoughts, family, before we head out of here. We good? Hearts and minds are clear?
I win.
All right. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all for joining us here. Thank you to everyone who dropped the super chats as well. We got a little bit of I say a little bit of a break. It feels like it because how many days in a row we've had games. I know we didn't have any yesterday, but this week has been a playoff-a-thon for sure. So it continues though on Tuesday. We'll be here and very excited. NoCapSpaceWB.com for all of your print and podcast content. And I know we'll have 5 Out dropping from Andrew, the weekly column. If you haven't ever checked out 5 Out, check out 5 Out. Andrew be going stupid on the 5 Outs. Of course, as always, code NOCAP15 gets you 15% off your first purchase with our friends at Home Field. You can find that link in the description below, along with all of our social medias to make sure you stay tapped in with No Cap Space at all times. Because I don't know if you saw today, our little teaser went out of what interview is dropping this week. Joyce Edwards has joined us for Luxury Tax, amongst a couple other players that already got recorded. She made her call out for the 4th MVP of A'ja Wilson, but you'll be able to check out the full interview here on the YouTube this week. Me and Shawnee got to sit down with South Carolina's Joyce Edwards. It was a fun one. So make sure you're tapped in here.
I keep winning.
Make sure you're tapped in across the board, and we will see y'all next time.